Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. It's the beginning of Ramadan, but I didn't realize it. And since I've already eaten today, I have not been fasting today. So I decided to cook some potatoes, but I didn't want to eat them right away, but I wanted to take my time to prepare them. What I've done is I've gone ahead and peeled and chopped up, there we go, potatoes. But since I don't want to eat them right away, I don't want to cook them just yet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some olive oil, nice olive oil. I like olive oil, it's very healthy and has a long history in cooking, a lot of fans. We're going to cover those potatoes with a generous amount of olive oil. And I'm going to slosh them around in the pan, kind of stir them around a little bit, and get that oil all over those potatoes. And that'll help keep them from oxidizing. And it gives me a chance to pre-prepare a little bit, get that coating of oil on there. And they're not going to oxidize so bad. The little peelings and stuff, I'm just going to leave them on the gravel here in the little decorative yard for just a little bit, and I'll pick them up before I'm done, and a little bit of trash that I have left. And at that point, I'll take all that and put it in the dumpster, because I always keep my camps as clean as I can. I don't run up with every little piece of trash and walk, 20 yards away and put it in the trash. I make a little pile, and as soon as I get ready to get up and do anything, I go ahead and take my little pile with me, put it in the trash, and keep my camps clean. It's very important to keep your camp clean. Okay, and somewhere in here, I have some salt. I have a little container of salt. I always keep some salt with me. And you can't see, it's out of camera range. But I'm going to just take, and I'm going to be slightly generous with this. I'm going to put maybe, a quarter teaspoon. Not too much, but kind of generous for the small amount of potatoes that I have. I'm just going to let that sit. Because it's still late afternoon, and it's past the hottest part of the afternoon. It's about almost 5 o'clock. It's 4:59. And during the hot part of the afternoon, I'm really inactive. I just don't do a whole lot. I have a lid here, but I need to rinse it off real quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to take this pan and I'm going to set it over there like that. I'm going to take my little lid. And this is from eggs this morning, a little oil, and some coffee grounds from coffee a little later, because I didn't bother to wash it out super thoroughly when I cooked the coffee in it, because it's a big chore and a bunch of water and stuff where did that go? Oh, there it is. To wash dishes. So sometimes while the pan is still fresh and just has the slightest amount of material left in it from something that I just, a few minutes before cooked, I'll knock it down a bit and I'll cook something else in it. Get more use out of it without having to go and collect more water. I happen to have a tissue, and I'm cleaning this lid nice and clean as it can be when there's a little staining in there, but I don't care about that. That's not going to hurt the food any. It's not unsanitary. And here's another little piece of trash that I'm going to leave with my potato peel pile. And I'm going to put that lid. The lid is kind of interesting on this gadget. So you have the handle, which makes it kind of weird when you go to clean the pan, because you can't just knock it like you might another pan and bang stuff out of it, because the handle goes poof. So I'm going to take, and there's a little lip thing, little handle at the top, and that fits over that. And it goes like that. Otherwise, you can't clamp it shut without it being through that little handle. And that's going to seal that up. And there's a little bit of grease on the bottom of the pan. Even though it doesn't really make any difference in a lot of ways, I'm just going to wipe that down, and that keeps me from transferring oil when I handle the pan. And a little olive oil on your skin, as long as it's not too much and doesn't become greasy, is actually pretty healthy. In fact, there's a long history. The Romans used to, the reports that I was taught in school, was that they used to sit in a steam bath, and then they would use olive oil and a thing called a cudgel, which was kind of a scrapey thing, and they would scrape the excess oil off. And I've had people tell me that it was a traditional thing in Jewish culture as a skin treatment to keep your hands soft, kind of like hand lotion and stuff. The olive trees are a well-respected plant with a long history in the biblical lands, in Mediterranean and so forth. All sorts of interesting stuff. I really recommend that you go and take a look at the history and the nature of the olive tree and the wonderful fruit that we get out of it, and how there's videos that teach you how to cure olives. One I watched the other day was how to cure them with salt. I didn't know it was that easy. I highly recommend that if you have a fruit tree, a nut tree of some sort, get some use out of it. Capture that fruit, cook with it, eat it raw if it's appropriate, share it with your friends, donate it to the food banks. Don't let that food go to waste. So I wish I could pause this thing, but the Chromebook has very limited capacity with this camera. There's very little I can do with it. I can stop recording, I can take a photo, I can change it from a square to the kind of screen that you see now. I can reverse it, but I can't pause it, keep recording. I can't cut and paste different pieces together. Very little editing of any kind that I can do. In fact, none. Even in YouTube Studio, it says that it's there, but I have not been able to figure out how to get that to work. It doesn't consistently show up, and that really limits me. I think they're doing it so that you have to buy it, which is kind of chintzy, because that kind of capability has been with computers for 20 years or more, as it just comes with it. So it's not like anybody that's working today has to reprogram anything to do that. So it's kind of disappointing. If you're going to pay somebody to program, they ought to program something new, like orbital management traffic. But that's another video. I'm not going to get into that today. Cooking outside is very challenging. You never know what equipment you're going to be able to maintain. You don't know what foods you're going to get if you're dependent on food banks, or if your money is limited, or if you're traveling. And so you have to be flexible, and you have to figure out your nutrition. In the last few months, I've actually gained some weight. I've been spending a lot of time in Chandler, and I just got back from a trip to my mother's. God bless her. It was wonderful. And now I wait until night, and I do a lot of exercise to try and do that. But during the day, I just turn into a sweaty mess, and I can't wash my clothes very easily. I can occasionally wash something in a sink. Excuse me. Oh, and I think that's where some of my GERD is coming from. Is that extra weight I've never had in my whole life. I've never had this extra 10, 20 pounds of weight. So it's very unusual for me. And I'm dedicated to making it go less, not more. Thank you very much for joining me today on the American Nomad News Cooking Edition. And I hope to see you soon with another video. I have on a side note, little clip for the next one. I have a series of videos that I'm working on about fatherhood in America. And there was an incident that happened this morning. I got some footage. I got some surreptitious audio. I'm sure the guy knew because he saw me open the laptop, and he was a reporter, so he's not dumb. But I got a little piece of conversation that revealed a lot about the nature of the opinions of newscasters and police and these kinds of things about a man in the position of losing his hopes and dreams, his children, his future, and them being very callous about it. And it also gave me a chance to showcase my own opinions about it, because they're the ones asking, and I'm the ones, I'm answering these questions in a certain kind of way. But I want to take some time, and I want to develop that, because I can't edit. It means that that little audio clip has to come as a separate segment without explanation, and that's kind of tough. So I may make it an unlisted video that you have to click in from an introductory one. And I think that's something I just realized just now. This is how I'm going to have to do that, because I really want to explain the context of my feelings on these things. I think it's really important we start to have the discussion about how to reduce incidents like this systemically from the top down. Once the incident has happened, once some man has fallen into the devil's trap of being lured into bad behavior, and he's been judged by the people who think they have the right to judge, there's really not a lot that can be done from his end of things. We have to attack the problem from a systemic point of view. And we have to look at the people who lead people down a path of destruction, and who celebrate it, and who make a living off of it, and realize they're innocent too, because this is all part of some very challenging things. And it's a bit much for me to talk about at the moment. I'm just introducing the idea to keep a watch out for it. It should be premiering pretty soon. Thank you very much. This is Darren Marchant with American Nomad News.